Oh, hi. Welcome. Come on in. Have a seat. Welcome to my studio. I spend a lot of time in here. This is one of my favorite things to do is to paint. It gives me a lot of pleasure, a lot of satisfaction. And it's one of the few things that I can still do without being too bothered by my back and my addiction. I can't sit as long as I used to, so my paintings now have to be broken up into several sessions. Instead of used to be, I would just sit here and paint all day, and I could finish a large painting in a day. Can't do that anymore. But it is one of the things that I can do, and that's what we have to concentrate on when we are suffering with chronic pain and drug addiction. We have to concentrate on finding the things that we can do in our life that make us happy and satisfy our need to be productive people. Um, like I said, I started this channel to talk about chronic pain, addiction, and faith, and living with your chronic pain and your addiction. And I am an addict. I have had chronic back pain for over 20 years, and I have been an opioid addict for more than 15 years for sure. I know that there are hundreds of thousands of people just like me who have had to deal with this problem and are dealing with it. I also know that there are hundreds of thousands of you out there who will be, who are headed down that path right now, who are seeing that orthopedic surgeon for the second time tomorrow afternoon, and who are going to hear those magic words, I think we can help get rid of that pain for you. Boy, oh boy. Magic. Still is to my ears, and I've heard it so many times I can't even begin to count. Yeah, we're going to be able to help your pain. Boy, oh boy, we'd crawl through broken glass, wouldn't we? To find somebody who would help us with this pain, because it's constant. Nobody understands until you've had it how much chronic pain just takes your life. It just takes it. Over a long period of time, the psychological effects and the physical impacts of chronic pain take the life out of you, and you're basically left, in most cases, with absolutely nothing you can do except turn to drugs. Some of us have turned to drugs illegally, but you don't have to. The doctors will be happy to give them to you. Now, I've been on both sides of that fence, because when I started down this path, I didn't have any money. I didn't have any insurance. I couldn't afford to buy the prescription drugs, and the doctors wouldn't give them to me. So I had to get my pain relief as best I could. Fortunately, I knew a lot of people, and there were a lot of people out there who were willing to help me. But that's where we wind up. Now, at this point in my process, they have implanted an intrathecal pain pump into my abdomen right here. What they do is they make an incision in your skin, and they pull it apart, and they stuff this thing in here. It's that big in diameter. It's about this thick, and it has a little rubber nipple right in the middle of it. which I can feel through my skin, and which is they have to feel because that's how they fill it. Every 40 or 50 days, they go in with a needle, put it into this little rubber thing here, and they take all the old medicine out and they fill it up with new medicine. That's how they do that. The pump then has a catheter because they dig around, they pull fat out of your abdomen around the side and around into your back, and they run a catheter down through that little tunnel they dug, and then they put that catheter into your spinal canal and suture it in so that it can't come out. And then they fill that pump up with your latest, greatest drug, turn it on and say, there you go, we're done. You're going to have a great life now. Yes, sir, boy. Well, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Before I get into all of the details about how that's not how it works, let's just start by saying, I got here and you are going there because you and I are chasing an illusion. It is called being pain-free. I want to be pain-free. So do you. Everything I've done all along this path has been to get rid of this stupid pain. It haunts me. It wakes me up at night. It keeps me up. It doesn't allow me to sleep. Every time I move, every time I bend, every time I try to get up, that pain yanks me right back and says, oh, don't forget about me. Wherever you go, I'm going. Yes, it does. And you've never had it. You've never had it. If you have never had chronic pain, you can't begin to imagine the misery that comes with it. It's pretty awful. So, what I can tell you is that you need to find something in you right now, a strong spot in your heart. Pray about it. And tell yourself this: I will never be pain-free. Don't turn the channel off. I'm just telling you the way it is. The odds that you will be pain-free are almost non-existent. Almost non-existent. Now, let me tell you something. Because pain-free is what you want. It's what you want in your mind. And that's what's going to make you keep going and going until you get all kinds of drugs. Because there's got to be a drug that'll do it, right? I mean, we were taught that. Drugs are the greatest the industry, the science, wonderful. Chemistry. There's got to be something you can give me that'll make the pain go away. We all saw the people in the movies in World War II, right? They got their legs blown off. Guy comes along, grabs this little stick thing and goes in the leg. And the guy goes, oh, I'm all better. You got a cigarette on you? That's not how it works, folks. That's not how it works. That's the movies. There's not any chemicals out there that are going to make you pain-free. And just on the off chance that one or two of you may, then I'll tell you this, it comes with a price tag. And I'm not talking about money. The more of that drug that you get, the less of your life will you control. So, now let's back up a little bit. Now we've kind of touched on the drugs a little bit. my life was full of active stuff. I was a normal, healthy young man. I was a police officer, pilot, ship's captain. I did all. I can't think of anything I ever thought I wanted to do that I didn't go out and try to do. And then what happened was I had an accident. Now I'll tell you about this accident and then we'll go on. I'm going to make this first video a little bit longer than the others. I need to get you someplace where you understand that you and I are talking on the same level and we're talking about the same kinds of things, and that there may be something that I know that I've been through that you want to hear about before you get it. Okay? So I was at my parents' house having a Sunday dinner. My wife and I left, headed home, stopped at a gas station. This is a long time ago. This is 25, 35 years ago, something like that. They had people working in the gas station, pumping gas. They'd come out to your car, they'd put gas in your car, they would check the air in your tires, wash your windshield. It's a long time ago, but that's how it used to work. And there was a lady working in this one. She was the attendant. She came over and I had a locking gas cap. And my car, you had to pull the license plate down, and behind the license plate was the filler neck where you put the hose in for the gas. So she had gone back there and pulled that down, put the key in, removed the cap, put the hose in, put the gas in, and then she put the cap back on, but the key wouldn't come out. So she called to me, said, "Hey, I can't get this out. Can you come help me?" So I said, "Sure." So I took a few steps in that direction, and I looked and saw a car flying down this hill that led up to this gas station, and he was going way too fast to be able to stop. I saw that he was headed right for the back of my car, and I knew that if she was still squatted down behind my car when he hit it, that her children weren't going to see her ever again. So I ran back and shoved her out of the way, and I scrambled up onto the trunk of my car, except my right leg didn't scramble up there. And he hit my car 3 times. And in the process, he cut my leg off. Well, that's a little melodramatic. It actually wasn't cut completely off. There was a little soft tissue and some skin holding it on. But by all measures, the bone was snapped in two and hanging. Off to the hospital I went, and I got in, and the doctor said, "Okay, well, we've got you all fixed up best we can, and we're put a hip cast on you that went all the way from my hip to my toes." And I was in a wheelchair for 18 months. And over the course of that 18 months, I was prescribed Percodan. And fortunately for me at the time, although I didn't know it, I do now, but like I had just started a new job, and they fired me right off the bat because I didn't show up for work and I had not completed my 90 days of probation. So they fired me and terminated my insurance. So I didn't have any money. I didn't have a job. I didn't have any way to pay for drugs. And so I didn't get drugs I could take. So I got drugs from friends and relatives and anybody that had some kind of pain medicine, because I'm here to tell you that I suffered. I suffered a long time. The bone in my lower leg was about a ½ inch of it just wasn't there anymore. So there was a ½ inch gap between those bones. So all the time I'm laying there with my leg in this cast all stretched out, every time I moved, the upper part of my body moved, the lower part of my body didn't. And let me tell you about having some screaming in the middle of the night. But the upside to that is I didn't get addicted to pain medicine. And I eventually learned how to live with that pain, and it gradually improved as the thing healed. And I got out of that mess without any pain addiction. I mean, without any drug addiction. Now, the downside is, and the only reason I'm telling you this part of the story, is that the real result of the accident is that ½ inch of bone that was missing in my right leg. Because when it fused back together about a ½ inch shorter than it was before. So my right leg was now about a ½ inch shorter than my left leg, and my hips, instead of being like this, were like this. My upper body is now like this, trying to stay upright. So everything in my spine and hips was displaced. Gravity took over. Age started taking over. And there I am in my middle 40s, and boom, I'm having back pain, issues cropping up. It's just starting. And those were going to get better and better and better. And now I think that's a good place for us to leave off, because next week, when I do this again, I'll tell you about the back pain. I'll tell you about the opioids, and I'll talk to you about our addiction, my addiction. And I hope you'll come back and watch the next one. If you think there's any value to this, let me know, please. If you think there's something I can do to make it better, let me know. Write me a note in the comments. Also, I don't have the skill or the equipment to really do a video. I'm doing this with my phone, and I don't know how to edit these things. So every time I make a mistake, I have to re-record it. And I have just recorded this initial segment about 7 times, so I forget what I said in the last one because I'm just talking to you. So I might have missed some things, but I'll review it. But if you know somebody that can help me out and tell me how to go about editing these video clips, I'd love to hear that too. Now, Jesus rules my life, and I look to him every day for comfort and for guidance. I hope you do too, because it'll be offered to you if you ask for it. And I hope that you'll come back and visit, and I hope that these will do you some good, and I hope that you'll subscribe and like when you watch it. If you subscribe and like it, we get enough people that are doing that, YouTube will start to promote these videos to get more people to look at them. Their goal is to put an advertisement in it, but I don't care about that. My goal is to get it out there, and they won't get it out there. They'll leave it to the 100 of you that have come by so far, and it'll never go any further. So if you want to help me reach out and talk to these people, please like and subscribe. Okay? All right. Well, I'm going to go back to work on this painting. I need to get it finished. I don't have a client for it yet, so it's for sale if you want to pick it up. And if you don't, I understand. But come back and see me next week. We'll see what I'm working on, okay? All right. See you later.